Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. So, a question that I always ask myself and ponder, ask other people, is where does spirit dwell? Well, it's a strange thing wherever you let spirit in. An old statement from the 11th century, the Corpus Hermeticum, says God is an intelligible sphere whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. That's a mouthful. God is an intelligible sphere whose circumference is nowhere and whose center is everywhere. So where does spirit dwell? Wherever you let spirit in. Now, letting spirit in is equivalent to me of being in sacred space. And when you're in sacred space and you let spirit in, there's a sense of regeneration. Because sacred space means you're connected back to the center. You're connected back to the origins. You're connected back to the beginnings. You're created back to newness. You're created back. You're brought back to where creation takes place. That's why they call it born again. You come back a different person. Your ontological status has changed completely when you've had that first, we say, come to Jesus moment. But of course, it doesn't have to be through Jesus, which is the moment that you come to, right? Now, because it's a modern point of view that there is no center, and it's a modern point of view that you don't need a guru. So that's one of the reasons why we seem so completely adrift in this free fall into the future with nothing covering us, and also no one who we can trust, to have faith in, to guide us. So for the modern student, practitioner, quester, seeker, I always say the initiations come in the transition states, when the status quo is broken through or broken down. So there's some kind of eruption that comes into your life, unexpectedly usually, and not desired most of the time. And what happens is it takes you down, it knocks you down, it makes you depressed, it ruins everything. And the old word that they use for this is called acedia, which means you then lack the energy to begin anything new. You lack the zeal, that incredible passion, that intensity. And as I often told my college students, if you're not proactive, by default you go to chaos. And so if you get the wind knocked out of your sails and you just don't feel like doing anything, right? But as I've learned in many of the groups I've participated in, the problems we face are not now, they're ahead of us. So right now you can organize yourself in order to face what is up ahead. And then also we have to mourn for the loss of things that are no longer in our life or no longer appropriate. Their expiration date is over. But too much grieving makes your heart of stone, and that also makes you too heavy to do anything. Yes, there's an appropriate time for grieving, and as I always say, grieving is an active process. You choose to let yourself go into it. Whereas if you resist it and think you shouldn't be there, then it pulls you down more and you get depressed, and you're not as much at liberty to come up when you feel like you're drowning in your own grief. And so it's true that each one of us has our own karma with our blood kin, but very often in the spiritual path, you have to find your family of affiliation, who you really side with. Those are the people who you trust and have faith in, and they trust you and have faith in you. And once you accept a certain, and we would all love to have solutions to everything, but I like the idea that every person's life is like an insoluble Zen koan. That's why it's perfectly matched for you. It keeps you wondering, questioning, going deeper and deeper, not being satisfied till you have that breakthrough experience. And then, if you're willing to play this game the way I'm sharing it, the way my teacher shared it with me, you understand that grace, which is something that's divine assistance, given to you unmerited for your own regeneration, becomes your life experience is grist for the mill. Everything that happens to you is something that you could use to further your awakening, further your awareness. So Accept the tempering process. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. You're like steel. They put you back and forth through these shifts of temperature change. And then you learn how to coordinate your actions into a unified whole. So my blessing for you is concentrate on one thing at a time. I know we have a culture that wants you to multitask. Put out the one with all your juice behind it. That'll satisfy your inner hunger. That'll appease you like nothing else. And then to deal with your own ego inflation or arrogance, it's what you learn after you think you know it all. That's what counts.